It's Friday, May 23rd, 2025, Memorial Day weekend. Welcome to episode 155 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, Alameda Police on the job and at City Council. The Planning Board sets their budget. An apartment fire displaces residents. Added security for ferry commuters. An unexpected change at the Coast Guard. Alameda Health System gets some good news. The latest real estate sales, activities for your holiday weekend, congratulations to a local high school thespian, and a change to a local favorite brew. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story, Alameda police detectives have uncovered an identity theft scheme that involves victims from across the country. It all started on April 22nd when an APD patrol officer noted a trend of stolen vehicles being recovered near Monterey Circle and Mosley Avenue. The officer advised APD detectives who began to investigate possible connections. On April 24th, APD officers returned to the residence to serve a search and arrest warrant. During the search, officers found numerous fraudulent identification cards, credit cards, checks, narcotics, and counterfeit document creation tools. Canine Officer Primo alerted officers to a stolen firearm in the residence. As a result of the investigation, APD detectives uncovered a complex identity theft scheme involving victims from across the country. Some victims had homes and vehicles leased in their names without their knowledge. 2 individuals were arrested for multiple offenses. APD is currently working with leasing officials and car dealerships to help restore the identities of those affected. As you're no doubt aware, identity theft is a major problem in America. One of the simplest tools you can use to fight that is to institute credit freezes at the 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You can lift the freezes temporarily when you need to obtain a loan or open a new credit card, then refreeze. It's a minor inconvenience, but it can save you a major headache. Full article, including links to the credit bureaus at alamedapost.com/news. APD was the main focus of Tuesday's City Council meeting. As we previewed in last week's episode, Council received an informational report on the city's workforce vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. While city job vacancies average just over 10%, the police department vacancy rate is north of 24%. As we've reported in the past, Alameda has the most generous police hiring bonus in the nation, $75,000. From June 2021 to May 2025, the city did attract 48 new police officers. And for at least part of that time, that $75,000 bonus was a big part of the story. The problem? The city lost 48 officers in the same period and saw 5 recruits fail the academy. Let's look at some numbers. The hiring bonus attracted 695 applications in 2024, but the rigorous screening process knocked the hiring rate down to 2%. What does that mean for the current makeup of the force? Fully staffed would mean 88 officers. That number is currently 69. There are only 2 full-time detectives and only 1 officer each in community resources and support services. And how about dedicated traffic enforcement officers? That number would be 0. What about those lost 48 officers? 16 left for other agencies, 10 retired, 11 took disability retirements, 6 were released, and 5 left police work altogether. Officers have expressed frustration with limited opportunities in Alameda outside of patrol work. City Manager Jennifer Ott explained that the city's current revenues do not fully cover expenses due to declining revenues and rising operational costs. Because of the fiscal situation, Ott said the city is proposing a temporary cap of 72 sworn officers rather than the full staff of 88. Council discussion did note that despite these challenges, Alameda is seeing a drop in the crime rate, but that is not a reason to ease up on retention and recruitment efforts. In the end, the council voted unanimously to accept the informational staffing report for the city workforce. For an in-depth look at the discussion, see Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/news. Looking ahead, on May 27th, the Planning Board will review the city's proposed capital budget, which funds infrastructure improvements to determine if it is consistent with the general plan. The budget preview includes 39 planned city projects, including several related to roadway improvements and climate adaptation. The next 2 budget years average around $43 million a year, include projects like designing and constructing the neighborhood greenways network, safety and transit improvements along Willie Stargell, plans for a bicycle and pedestrian bridge between Alameda and Oakland, and many others. Also on the agenda, updating the inclusionary housing ordinance. A current issue is the vacancy in moderate-income housing. While low-income housing typically fills quickly, the moderate-income units have become less attractive, as now there is not much difference between those units and standard market rate units. If prices are similar and paperwork is easier, guess which people tend to choose. For a full preview of Tuesday's meeting and ways you can get involved, see Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/news. On Tuesday, a small fire broke out in a West Atlantic Avenue apartment building just after midnight, activating the indoor sprinkler system and forcing several dozen residents, many of whom were elderly, to evacuate. One person was treated on scene and released. While there were no other injuries, the volume of water from the sprinklers was enough that 10 residents were displaced. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Story at alamedapost.com/news. A little added peace of mind for ferry commuters. The city of Alameda is boosting security at its ferry terminals. A security guard is now present at the Harbor Bay Ferry Terminal every weekday. This is in response to rider feedback and is being implemented in coordination with SF Bay Ferry. The city also plans to extend security guard presence to Seaplane Lagoon and Main Street ferry terminals in the future, pending paid parking beginning at Seaplane Lagoon. To pay for the security, the city is introducing paid parking. Harbor Bay already has the stations set up, but they are not yet active. The rate will be $3 a day on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Drivers will be able to pay for parking via mobile app, text, or on-site pay stations. Details at alamedapost.com/news. While we're on the water, Captain David Melton was, quote, temporarily relieved, end quote, from his post as commander of Coast Guard Base Alameda on Tuesday due to, quote, loss of confidence, end quote, according to an official U.S. Coast Guard announcement. The announcement also stated that the action was not due to misconduct. Captain Brian Winburn has temporarily assumed the position of commander of the base. Story at alamedapost.com/news. California Department of Health Care Services has awarded the Alameda Health System more than $77 million from the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program, which is funded through Proposition 1. AHS will use the funding to build a 10-bed inpatient medical detox and psychiatric care unit at San Leandro Hospital and 2 20-bed units devoted to geriatric psychiatric patients at St. Rose Hospital. Details at alamedapost.com/news. As we do every 2 weeks, a look at the latest Alameda real estate sales, courtesy of Liz Rush. 21 homes sold from May 6th until the 19th. Busy times on Bay Farm Island with 6 of those 21. Closing prices range from $400,000 to $2,400,000. 2 homes under asking price, 2 at, and the remaining 17 above asking price. Houses do seem to be staying on the market a bit longer these days. For a complete list of properties, prices, and time on market, see Liz Rush's article at alamedapost.com/real-estate. Memorial Day weekend is upon us. Amanda Laird has curated some great events to keep you entertained and informed this long weekend in her weekly all-around Alameda column. A new event just started at Alameda Brewing on Park Street. Thursdays are now Music Bingo Night. Saturday brings a cyanotype print workshop to Radium Runway. Cyanotype is an early photographic process that predates cameras. Alameda Walks heads to the Gold Coast Saturday morning. On Sunday, you can catch Dennis Evanosky again as the Post's Walking History Tours review the commercial buildings of Park Street. Details and tickets at alamedapost.com/tours. Memorial Day itself finds ceremonies at both Alameda Veterans Memorial Park and the USS Hornet. Both events feature multiple speakers. Memorial Day activities on the Hornet are free for veterans and active military personnel. Fascinating-looking event coming up Wednesday at Faction Brewing. What does science have to say about earworms? How can we tell that a note sounds wrong? Join cognitive neuroscientist Peter Janata at Profs and Pints, How Music Affects Our Brains on Wednesday to explore the psychology and neuroscience of music. That'll be at Faction Brewing from 6 until 8:30. As always, find All Around Alameda at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. Back in episode 139, I told you how the Northern California High School Musical Theater Awards are now known as the Sarah Bareilles Awards. Last Sunday at the Orpheum in San Francisco, the inaugural Sarah Bareilles Awards were held, and Encinal High's Amelia Arneson was among those in attendance. She was nominated for Outstanding Supporting Performer for her role as Tanya in Encinal's production of Mamma Mia. She ultimately did not win the award, but what a great send-off as Amelia heads off to college at Willamette University in Salem, Oregon to pursue her BA in theater. Well done. Quick note to my fellow beer enthusiast, one of our island favorites has undergone a pretty significant change. Almanac's True, for years a German Kolsch, is now an American lager. I've blind tasted them side by side. There's definitely a difference. Fans of the style will be pleased. Thank you for your support of local news for Alameda. Show your support by heading to alamedapost.com/donate. Find us on all the social media platforms and find the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. As you enjoy this long weekend, please take a moment to remember the reason behind Monday's holiday. I'm Scott Peeler, back next Friday with episode 156 of the Alameda Postcast.